Do you know why most of us suck at golf? I'll give you a little tip. You know what? Let's just get into it in the video. Hey everybody, welcome back to Golf Test Dummy, the channel where I use my game to hopefully help your game. I have been not putting out as many videos lately as I normally do. I used to put one out every single week without fail. Sometimes I was putting out 2 and 3 videos a week. Now it's been probably about 3 weeks since my last video came out. Why is that? Well, one reason is that this is not my full-time job. I've been pretty busy. There's a lot going on. But really, another thing is that it seems like viewership has gone down. We're up over 12,000 subscribers right now, and my videos recently have just not been getting the engagement that I thought they would. They're not getting the exposure through the algorithm. I'm not getting the help from the computer, so I need your help. First of all, if you're not subscribed to the channel, I need you to subscribe to the channel now and click the bell off to the right so that you're notified every time I put out a video and you don't miss any. The second thing I need you to do is make sure you click like down below. That really helps out in the algorithm. And the third thing I need you to do is comment and share the video. Show your friends. Maybe they could use a little bit of encouragement. Maybe they could use some of the tips that I give on here that are for normal golfers, not high-speed, jet fuel, PGA Tour Pro golfers. This is supposed to help real people, real golfers who play on the weekends, the weekend warriors who need a little extra help and need some encouragement and a way to simplify the game and get out there and do it. Another thing I need you to do, I know I'm asking a lot of you, but another thing I need you to do is go check out my sponsors. I've got Bionic Gloves, Sunday Golf. I've got the links down in the description below. There's a couple other ones down there too to help you out a little bit, save you some money. Golf doesn't have to be expensive and it doesn't have to be hard. Now, what am I talking about in today's video? I've got an 8-iron in my hand. What I mentioned in the beginning is, why do we suck at golf? Why is it, a better way to put it would be, why is it that you're not reaching your goals? Why is it that you struggle on the golf course? I go through it, you go through it, pros go through it, everybody goes through it to some extent. Consider this scenario for a minute. It's a Saturday morning. You're out with your regular foursome. You're on the first tee, or you're waiting at the first tee. There's a couple of groups. You're already thinking that you have to be better or longer or straighter, whatever, than the people in your group, right? When all that matters at the end of the day is the score, not the distance. But let's just say that the 3 people in front of you, they all tee it up and they all put their tee shot with their driver out in the fairway 250 plus. They're all sitting pretty. And now it's your turn. But you don't hit your driver. In reality, if you track your stats, you know in your heart of hearts, you don't hit the ball 250 yards. But somewhere, even if you're not consciously aware of it, something inside of you is going to make you try to force a 250-yard drive down the middle of the fairway out of yourself when you don't have it in the bag. You don't have it in the bag. So we're going to swing at 150%, and we've got to hit this ball 250 down the middle. Let's go. You top it, you pop it up, you block it right, you thin it, you slice it, and even with your Herculean effort, you only manage to get the ball out there about 187 yards with a weak high slice. Not good. You're already now behind the 8 ball in your mind, right? But your perspective, whether you wanted it to be that way or not, was that for some reason you had to keep up with the Joneses. But I'm not a long hitter. I used to try and play to the level of others on individual shot basis, meaning that I wanted my shot to be better than their shot every time, or at least be respected among the group. My average, what I can realistically expect, is probably about a 225, 230 carry on average, not all the time, sometimes it's 215. And then whatever roll I might get. Maybe something like that. That came out a little bit low. It's only going to carry about 200, but it'll get a little more roll and it'll get out there probably to 225, maybe 225 plus. It's only getting off of the ground about 55 feet. I hit it low, but it's 222 total. And it was pretty straight, and it was down the middle of the fairway. I could play that ball all day. I haven't cost myself anything off the tee. I haven't blocked myself out. I haven't gotten behind any trees. I'm not out in the heavy rough. I've got a clear shot at the green on the par 4 now. But if I try and go after it and I try and hold myself to the level of everybody else and what they do with their clubs and their game, more often than not, I'm going to be disappointed. You need to know your stats, know your distances. That doesn't mean that you can't improve. You can certainly work toward improvement. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that if you track your stats and if you look at them objectively, rather than comparing yourself to everyone else, then you will know your game and know yourself, know your shots, know where your misses are, know what your true distances are, and you can strategize from that. You can play from that position. You can plan and plot your way around the golf course from that position. But if you are constantly thinking out of someone else's bag, it's almost like you're caddying for a ghost. My 7-iron in this set is 31 degrees of loft. Now, if I'm playing against somebody who has, let's just say, the Cobra LTDX irons, where the 7-iron is 26.5 degrees versus my 31, and they step up on a par 3 and they hit their 7-iron and it goes, let's say, 170 yards. And then I think, okay, well, 170 yards, they hit a 7-iron, I'm going to hit a 7-iron. My average with a 7-iron is about 158. I don't know, that's another good shot, little draw. This one's carrying out to 150. Going to probably get out to about 165-ish, maybe. So I'm actually hitting the ball at 164. I'm hitting the ball right now a little bit further than I normally do, but it's not my true average. Any other day, I pull that 7-iron from 170 yards, guess who's coming up a full club, maybe a club and a half short. You don't know what everybody else is playing in their bag. You can't compare yourself to everybody else. Maybe they've got more spin. Maybe they've got a different golf ball. Maybe a different technique. Maybe their shot had a little bit more wind affecting it, or maybe it didn't. But you can't compare yourself to everybody else. You continue to have this perspective that you need to play up to somebody else's standards and abilities. That's killing your game. If you're not tracking your actual stats and collecting that round after round after round, you're never going to know the reality of who you truly are as a golfer and what you can actually do. I recently was looking at some data that I collected over the course of, I think it was about 15 or 16 rounds. And I had a friend of mine tell me that they were taking their stats and looking at what their distances were with their clubs, and they went back and they looked at every shot that they had taken for 20-something rounds of golf, and that they were putting them into a spreadsheet. Now, that's further than I'm going to go, but they were able to identify particular clubs in their set, and they were surprised by what they found in some of those clubs, how some of them were giving them really good averages and percentages of how many greens they hit as a percentage number with each club. And then there was a couple that really shocked them. I had some that shocked me as well. For instance, my 54, my 60, my pitching wedge, and my 9-iron. I was over 50%. Over 50% of the time I would hit the greens. Some of those were 77, some of them were 80%, some of them were 62, but it was at least over 50% with those clubs. However, my approach wedge, 14%. I had no idea. I never would have guessed that. It's right in the middle of all those clubs. It's a fairly easy club to hit. Why am I only hitting 14 greens or 14% of my greens with that club? I came in here and I just started hitting a ton of approach wedges. And I wasn't just hitting it out into oblivion. I put a green out here with a bullseye on it, a certain size, and I had to hit that green in order for it to register as a hit green with that shot. And when I started, it was pretty bad. And I have no idea why. It was just that one club. It matches my set. It's a fairly lofted wedge. It's 50 degrees. It doesn't make much sense, right? Doesn't matter if it makes sense. It is. It is that way. I know that in order for me to shoot better scores, I need to hit more greens. In order for me to hit more greens, I need to get my percentage with my lower irons, my 60, 54, approach wedge, pitching wedge, 9-iron. With those clubs, those 5 clubs, I need to hit the green with those clubs. If I have a clear shot at it, at least 60 to 70% of the time. I need that to happen. Now, when it comes to 8-iron, 7-iron, 6, even the hybrids on up, I do not expect to hit nearly as many greens. It's much more difficult. But with a 9-iron in my hand, I should be hitting the green more often than not. When I get a 54 in my hand, I should be able to hit that green probably 75 to 80% of the time in order to play the kind of golf that's going to get me to the next level personally. For you, it may be that you need to be able to hit the green 30% of the time with this. Maybe that's going to be a step up for you, but that's your game. It's a matter of perspective. You continue to compare yourself to others and you're continually disappointed when you don't perform to their level. You're playing out of their bag. Play out of your bag. Your bag. You need your real stats. Track them. Keep up with them. And keep your mind open because you're probably going to see some stuff in there that you're not going to want to believe about yourself. You're not going to want to believe what your actual average driving distance is, because I'm betting you that 90% of you out there, you think it's way more than it is. You're playing out of somebody else's bag. Play out of your bag. Track your stats. Learn where your weak spots are. Learn who and what you really are, because only then can you strategize. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Not a whole lot of action in my videos, but I try and give you some really good information to help you become a better golfer. Not stuff for tour pros, stuff for us. See you in the next video.